after Pulwama, India takes revenge. 3 Jaish terror hubs down to rubble. Forces begin revenge strike against Pakistan terror. Over 245 Jaish terrorists killed in one strike. Bombed, burnt, buried. 16 Mirage 2000s of the IAF completely destroyed Jaish center in Balakot, in Muzaffarabad and Chakoti. Three terror pads, Jaish control room demolished in cross LOC strike by the Indian Air Force. Nation celebrates the daring attack by our forces. Terror camps in Pakistan and POK destroyed using 1,000 kgs of explosives. Pakistan will have to deal with this. As I say, good evening to our panel of guests. Rear Admiral Rakesh Chopra continues to be with us. Remember, he's been speaking all through this evening, and a lot more important points I think he'll have to make here. Colonel Ashish Khanna is also a defense expert. Brigadier Mahalingam is also a defense expert who's completing our panel here. And I'll first take you to Brigadier Mahalingam Saab. Brigadier Mahalingam, this is as big as it gets. But look at Pakistan. Pakistan today also says कि शायद अंधेरा बहुत था, हमारी तो तैयारी पूरी थी, लेकिन अंधेरा इतना था कि हम देख ही नहीं पाए. तो what to do?
I mean, it is a ridiculous sort of an argument. In fact, if you recall, they said that immediately after the terror attack...
They denied it first. They said kuch nahi hua.
Absolutely.
Moving on to this.
Absolutely. See, after the 40 people were killed, they went out and said that our troops are fully alert. They said all their sort of radars are fully active and so on and so forth. There is a reason that we must understand. There are certain compulsions of the Prime Minister, the Pakistani Prime Minister, as also the military. If you see that what has happened is a very major setback as far as the Pakistan's military is
Absolutely.
concerned. And the second most important thing is the Indian aircraft went inside and came back without anything happening to them. And these two things are very in that case.
And that is the real success,
Absolutely,
I think, of this operation. Apart from drawing that line, we'll just try to keep it fast because there are a lot more breaking updates that will continue to come to us on your screens, viewers. Just in case you're tuning into the broadcast, we graphically are telling you more about that strike. All it takes for India to decimate Pakistan and its terror launch pads, 21 minutes. Colonel Ashish Khanna Saab, how do you read into this lay? How important is this entire day today, sir? And I think there's a little correction. Not even 21, 17 minutes. 17 minutes to precision is all that it takes for us, for India, for our Prime Minister, for our forces to show Pakistan, sir, its real place.
See, I am Air Vice Marshal General.
Okay, we'll stand corrected,
Let me just clear here that the way the minister was lying, our aircrafts went deep up to 60 kilometers inside. Their radar could not pick up. And we had a LGB bombs, laser guided bombs, 1000 kg bomb for which we attacked. Bomb cannot be dropped. It's not like a missile which can be launched from a distance of about 40 to 60 kilometers. We have gone inside, deep into the territory, identify the targets, and our intelligence was so good. It was with the laser beam ke saath we have destroyed those targets. So it is a completely defeat of Pakistan to say that they came in the dark. Rather, the credit goes to our pilots that in the complete darkness, they were able to identify and launch their weapons from that side.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I think before we actually get into the core of the entire story, telling our viewers more about the strike, I'll just allow Rear Admiral Rakesh Chopra also to make his point. So because I think it was you who actually coined that term and you said new red lines. This is the new normal. And the world today has to deal with it because this is an assertive India not looking towards the US or anywhere else for commands, for help, for decision making. India is well in control. India is ready to strike, and India has struck hard at Pakistan, sir.
Absolutely. There is no doubt that the new red line has been established now, and everybody will now know that this is a red line. If you cross the red line, there will be repercussions. Previously, before this was established, the jihadis or whoever came, they hit targets. Even Mumbai took place. Nothing really happened. There was no red line established. But now there is no way that anybody can get away if they cross this red line. It is going to remain. And hopefully it will be upgraded at some point of time.
Oh yes, and because you say that this never happened, I think this is the reason why, gentlemen, we say it's a paradigm shift. This is not an India that is going to be allowing Pakistan to continue to actually hit out at our men, hit out at our people. The reason why the Prime Minister again and again has said terror and talks will not happen together, and he's also said this will not be the new normal. This is the new India. We don't care whether the Pakistan is Naya or not Imran Khan, because Pakistan still lies. But because we want to also go back into how the story has unfolded so far, gentlemen, before I take this discussion back with you, this is an interesting report that our team has put together for you. This will tell you more about the assets, the air assets that India as a country deployed, that our forces deployed to blow Pakistan and its terror camp to smithereens. Have a look.
In the highly successful operation carried out by the Indian Air Force, 7 key weaponry systems were used by the Indian Air Force. To begin with, the highly reliable multi-fighter jets Mirage 2000s that were built by Dassault Aviation and acquired by Indian Air Force in 1980s. This is considered to be one of the most reliable fighter jets that the Indian Air Force has at this point in time. Both the squadrons based out of Gwalior. Apart from that, to augment this entire operation, there were GB-12 Paveway laser-guided missiles. These were the very missiles that were basically used to target the camps in Pakistan. Also, there were contingency plans that were in place. You had the Matra Magic multi-combat missiles, a French-built missile, keeping in mind that if there is any sort of retaliation from the Pakistani Air Force. What's important to point out here is that also the Netra airborne early warning jets, which were basically flown from Bhatinda. Important to point out here that this was the first operation of the Netra airborne early warning jets. These were essentially used to at least track the enemy movement and also provide guidance to the fighter jets.
Those unpatriotic, anti-national Deshdrohis in the country who went around saying, how's the Jaish? The answer should be, how's the Jaish? Blasted, sir. How's the Jaish? Dead, sir.
And let's get you a little closer to the story that continues to unfold. On your screen, you will see a lot of these graphic images that tell you more about the assets, our air assets that have gone into attacking Pakistan. In fact, these are Sukhoi jets, a refueler aircraft, a surface-to-air missiles, which were all on standby when 16 Mirage 2000 jets bombarded the Jaish terror camps with 1,000-kilogram laser-guided bombs. These were Indian assets that were a part of the operation that has successfully eliminated 245 terrorists. A significant breakthrough there for our country, and more details is what you can actually read on your screens that detail about these air assets one by one. About 7 of these, remember the report that our colleague Shaban was getting for us. For the moment, you're looking at the air asset 5, that is the IL-78 refueler aircraft that took off from Agra for the mid-air refueling assistance. Then we move on to get you this asset 6, the images of which you see on your screens, which was an Su-300 MKI, took off from the Sirsa Air Base to tackle any eventuality. So every plan, every precision, right till the T was planned. Air Asset 7 is a Pechora missile. Missiles were on standby near the LOC and the IB to counter eventuality. And though, you know, the show's called The Burning Question, but I think today if someone is burning, it has to be Pakistan. And with the kind of silence, with the kind of denial, sir, Brigadier Mahalingam, if you can come in first, because what does Pakistan do? There is a plausible deniability game that Pakistan plays again and again. No amount of evidence can actually ensure that Pakistan will act. But what about this? Do you think that what has happened today will have a huge ramification going forward in at least our relationship with Pakistan and the world also then?
Absolutely. In fact, as far as the world is concerned, today the India's stock has really sort of gone up. The world today knows that when India says that they are going to do something, there are two examples. The surgical strikes took place, and now again this particular thing has happened. Therefore, as far as the world stock is concerned, India's stock has really gone up, and that is one thing. The second thing that I want to mention is as far as relations between India and Pakistan is concerned, Pakistan knows that it cannot tackle India, and if it now sort of takes action and if it fails, the Pakistan's military, whose reputation is already down, it will further go down. Therefore, I very much doubt whether Pakistan today is in a position both psychologically and otherwise to target India.
I think that's a good point. That's a good point that you make. And you know, Rear Admiral Rakesh Chopra sir, you can come in here, because earlier we were also speaking to Lieutenant General retired DS Hooda Saab, who said it's Pakistan today that fears escalation. India should not fear escalation, and just because you fear escalation does not mean you should not retaliate.
Absolutely right. And I fully agree with the General. It's now, as they say, the ball is in Pakistan's court. It has to decide what it wants to do. Does it talk to us? Does it make friends with us? Or it takes a military option or a terrorist option? What sort of option does it want to take in reply to what we have done to them? So this is something which, like I mentioned, it is a red line. They have to decide how to play this red line.
And as I said, deal with it. You know, a lot of reactions coming in. We are also standing by to get the first response from the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath. And I think we'll cut to it the moment we have it. Also, a lot more graphic details about what has happened so far, because people today are wondering. You know, a lot of people also writing to us in Republic and asking, how did the strike happen? Is it that easy? Everyone understands that this is definitely not easy, but this is my colleague Rhythm Now viewers for you, decoding everything, the entire planning that has gone into putting Pakistan today in its place. Have a look at this report.
We tell you how India planned the entire attack on Pakistan terror camps. One day after Pulwama attacks on Feb 15, tri-services present their retaliatory options. On February 16th, surgical strikes is ruled out. The Indian Army is told to engage with Pakistan at the border. The Indian Navy deploys submarines as a decoy. The Indian Air Force's airstrike option is shortlisted. The Indian Air Force asks for 10 days' time for precision strikes. Later, on February 18th, NSA, RAW and the IB give 5 target options to the IAF. 3 targets are shortlisted, and finally on February 19th, it is that day that operational clearance is given for the airstrike.
It was a coordinated strike, the planning for which began a day after the Pulwama attack. On the 15th of February, all the 3 chiefs presented a plan to the National Security Advisor and the Prime Minister. And here is how that well-planned strike was eventually carried out, because they knew that a surgical strike would be anticipated. But it all began this morning at about 1 a.m. Location Bathinda Air Base. An Embraer air warning flight takes off. At 2 a.m. from Agra Air Base, an IL-78 mid-air refueler takes off. Around the same time, from the Gwalior Air Base, 16 Mirage 2000s took off, all of them trying to not alert the Pakistan defense system, but because they were not close to the line of control or the international border. Intentionally, these flights took off from different air bases and much away from the line of control. At about 3 a.m. is when the Mirage flights took off from Sirsa. And 4 Sukhoi 30 MKIs took off to give support to the Mirage 2000s in case of any eventuality to combat Pakistani air defense system and their planes if there was any retaliation. But that didn't happen. At least 7 military assets used apart from the Mirage 2000s. Mirage 2000, Sukhoi 30 MKIs, mid-air refuelers, early air warning systems, all of them deployed in this mission to eliminate Pakistani terror camps on their soil.
Also, our colleague Niranjan actually decoding the entire execution for you. And as I said, Republic keeping you on top of the story today that matters. The story that will, I think, drive the narrative over the next few days, over the next few months, because this is a story that is about India. And I quickly want to get in Brigadier Mahalingam before we head into our first break here on The Burning Question. Brigadier Sahab, ever since the Pulwama attack, the opposition had been questioning the government. They said, "Kya ho raha hai? Pakistan hame attack karta hai. This is a government not able to deliver." But the Prime Minister, right from day one, was saying, "Wait and watch. Pakistan will have to pay." And today, when you have the Prime Minister saying that desh surakshit haathon mein hai, how strong is a political will to ensure that you see action like we've seen today on Ground Zero, sir?
Absolutely. I must say that the credit for the operations must be given to the security forces, Army for targeting those militants within 100 hours and the Air Force for doing what they did yesterday. But the credit for sort of taking that decision, a very hard decision, must go to this government and particularly to the Prime Minister of India. I mean, politics or no politics, any party, they will have no option but to accept this because the entire thing is right in front of you. Therefore, it is a difficult decision in spite of the fact that our Army, our Air Force, Navy, they are professional forces. Till today, they have never been employed for you to know exactly what their capabilities are. Today, it is only just after the present government came that they are really being employed for the people to see exactly what is our capabilities. And the country must know that our security forces are capable of
And you know, Brigadier Saab, I think that's a good thought with which we head into this break. Not that our forces have not been capable. You cannot question their capability. But why was such punitive action not taken against Pakistan before? And how is it that today you have a decisive government that decided to strike Pakistan? A lot more to share with you and a lot more interesting perspective from all our guests here in the studio after this quick break. Don't go anywhere.